Hey, what's going on people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video we'll be counting down the top 10 legendary weapons manufactured by Dahl in Borderlands 3. The first in this double-header weekend with TDO tomorrow. A lot of you did recommend Atlas, but there's only 8 of them available right now and one isn't even a proper gun. So I was going to wait until reinforcements arrive, but with the recent announcement that the Director's Cut add-on is being pushed back until April 8th, expect it next week. Dependable double tap Dahl. These are the guns that, although come with alternate firing modes, but rather they only came fully auto. They're as accurate as they are lethal, and I'll be letting you know who has an increased chance to drop them, what they do, and how you can get them doing the most damage. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like, or you could even hit that subscribe button. And let's crack into it. We open this countdown of the top 10 legendary weapons manufactured by Dahl with the Ripper, an SMG that can come in every element and has an increased chance to drop from the game's first boss you can find around here in Covenant Pass. The Ripper supports an enchanted blade, enchanted with sharpness 5. Whenever you stab someone with it, they will bleed, making it all the more deadly. Anyone marked with its blade will be weak to its touch, taking twice the normal amount of damage. It's a great effect that provides not only an enjoyable gameplay loop, but a deadly one. The only downside is the delay between stabbing and shooting, which is noticeable. However, couple it with an action skill start stinger and you'll be able to mark enemies simply with its novas, which increases the murder spree to no end. Next up is the Boomer, another SMG. This one can only come in kinetic or incendiary and has an increased chance to drop from Scrap Trap Prime. You fight around here in the compactor as part of DLC 1. The Boomer goes boom. Each round explodes on impact, blowing your enemies away. Its fire rate is rapid, chewing through its magazine in quick fire time, and almost instantly with a peak damage ×2 variant. The ×2 variant is the most powerful, but you'll reload often, especially if you're Zane, so on him I'd avoid it. It's a great choice sub for anyone really, but because of its pure impact explosives, it's best suited to Moze. On her, every shot lands with force, and you'll get more from each magazine. At number 8 is the Hornet, a corrosive only weapon that has an increased chance to drop from the Mother of Grogans. You fight around here in the Anvil. The Hornet is easily the best of the Dahl pistols and is a great gun in its own right. It's one of very few Dahl weapons that doesn't come in fully auto, always coming in a 6-round burst, which are power packed enough to delete your enemies in a few rounds or less. It's an upgrade to its Borderlands 2 version, not only with the higher burst count, but also its added splash damage factor, which Moze can use to her advantage. It's a deadly gun, especially when landing crits, and is highly effective against any armor plating. Now for the Blood-Starved Beast, an elemental weapon from DLC 4 that fires more than just bullets and can only be dropped by Evil Lilith, who you fight on the high ground of Castle Crimson. The Blood-Starved Beast has a hunger for dishing out damage. Doesn't matter if you're dining in or taking away, it'll deal damage in both situations. The key to its damage isn't just its high fire rate, but the addition of explosive rounds that happen randomly and deal around 5 times the damage of a regular bullet. It's also multi-pelleted, which is always a plus, coming in variants that fire either the 2 or 3 pellets, with ×2 serving you for longer. It'll shred through opponents all day long, giving them no time to breathe between each supercharged round. Moving on to the Chaos, the first of the assault rifles. It can come in any element including non-elemental and has an increased chance to drop from the Psycho Billies, who have their HQ set up under the waterfall around here in the Ambermire. The Chaos is simply great all round, extremely accurate with a high fire rate and great damage. That would be enough, but it becomes even more as a thunderous explosion rings out whenever you kill an enemy. When I say thunderous, I mean thunderous, large and powerful enough to decimate opponents over a wide vicinity. It won't always happen though, as it's triggered by bullet damage, which is overshadowed a lot of the time by damage over time effects, but when they do happen, it's hard not to notice. Halfway through, and it's the Breath of the Dying, another gun that can only come in corrosive and has an increased chance to drop from Blinding Banshee. You fight around here in Desolation's Edge. The Breath of the Dying is an incredible gun. It doesn't matter that corrosive underperforms against shields and flash, it'll chew through them either way. It fires fast, is extremely accurate, and has one of the most devastating unique effects in the game. After killing an enemy, a circle of corrosive orbs burst outwards and explode on contact. They deal extreme amounts of damage, and the sheer number of them is enough to flatten a pack. That effect makes it great for mobbing, and it is, but it deals enough damage to deal with any problem you'll face. The Star Helix is next, a gun that can only come in kinetic, shock, radiation and cryo, and has an increased chance to drop from the Go-Go Power Troopers. You fight around here in Atlas HQ. The Star Helix is an assault rifle with some heavy DPS potential, because it doesn't just fire one bullet, but a trifecta which zip out of its barrel. It only ever comes with 24 bullets in its mag, and it always fires a little over 7 rounds a second, but that doesn't stop it from hitting hard. The main thing you need to watch with it though is its projectile pattern. The 3 bullets it fires shimmer in a horizontal line and are always a couple of inches apart, with and without aiming down sights. That makes it best on larger targets or in close ranges where you can land all it has to offer. At number 3 is the Sandhawk, which can't come without an element and will drop the quickest from Katagawa Jr. on Mayhem 6 or above. You fight around here in Atlas HQ. The Sandhawk is extremely deadly, just like a rabid seagull who's after your fries. It doesn't fire just one damaging round but 7, and it fires close to the speed of the Star Helix. Although it's heavy in damage, you'll be light on rounds after just 60 seconds, as it does consume 3 bullets per shot. But that's okay, because that's plenty of time to take down that boss who had been calling you Shirley. Any Vault Hunter can deal mountains of damage with it, and an ammo regen mode can even make it work while mobbing, but it's definitely more suited to making quick work of the heavy hitters. Runner up today, and it's the Soul Render, a Dahl assault rifle exclusive to DLC 2 that can come in any element including non-elemental, and can only be dropped from either Tom or Zam. You fight around here in Heart's Desire. The Soul Render is an extremely powerful weapon, dealing great damage at a high fire rate, and it also periodically fires purple skulls alongside its bullets that will home in on your target. Believe it or not, the skulls deal splash damage, and enormous amounts of it at that. It's the perfect merge of the overworld and the underworld. On modes, the skulls just decimate opponents, and because they seek out enemies on their own, they'll dismantle opponents who you haven't even smelt, let alone seen. Before number 1 is uncovered, let's cover some honourable mentions. The first one I have is the Nighthawken, a Dahl SMG that has an increased chance to drop from the Demo Skaggins you can find around here in the droughts. It's unique in the way that it always comes in cryo but doesn't always deal cryo damage. During the day it's tame, but at night it becomes unleashed, firing multiple incendiary rounds per shot which send its damage soaring. There's no doubt that at night it's at its best, but you are limited by the day-night cycles, which some areas don't even have. Next is the Sleeping Giant, an SMG that comes in kinetic, fire, corrosive and shock, and has an increased chance to drop from one punch. You fight around here in the underground of Electricity. The Sleeping Giant's true power lies dormant, but when revealed can't be missed. After reloading, it has a chance to apply weapon buffs, which include increased reload speed, damage, a fire rate boost, and increased handling and accuracy. The damage buff can be applied twice, and you have the chance to apply any of these bonuses simply by reloading. Where the Giant truly emerges is through the chance to apply every single bonus, which has a 33% chance on each reload, and when you're lucky enough to activate them all, the Sleeping Giant will crush any opposition. The last Dahl weapon worth mentioning is the Kratos EMP5, another SMG. This one is always non-elemental, and other than dropping from Wotan, will drop from the Agonizer 9000 at the end of the Guts of Carnivora, but only if you're on Mayhem 4 or higher. The Kratos MP5 is a bit of a weird gun, but if you've gotta go fast and like jumping around, it's perfectly fine. With it equipped, you'll move 20% faster, which does have its benefits, especially on Zane, but it will also boost your critical damage by 80% while airborne. That means you'll want to hop around like a caffeinated rabbit and do your best to hit your enemies where it hurts. It doesn't always work out, but it's a change in playstyle nonetheless. Is this what I think it is? No, it's not a duck wearing Crocs, it's number 1, and it's the Calcin, an SMG that can come in any element including non-elemental, and is best farmed for by targeting Captain Trant, who you fight at the very end of Athena's, but only if you're on Mayhem 6 or above. The Calcin was nerfed a while back and then was buffed recently, weird I know, almost as if the nerf never happened, but I'll never forget what they did to it. It fires quickly, deals great damage, and is unique in the way that it sticks projectiles to your target that deal damage both when they impact and a few short seconds later when they explode. It deals great damage across both stages, and because it deals splash damage, Moes will be able to take that damage up a notch. For peak power, you want to look out for a high damage ×2 version, which are rare but incredibly worth it. Just pray that it isn't 3-round burst and single shot when you pick it up. With the right one in your hands, you can overwhelm the field with an endless barrage of ordnance. Even when you reload, you'll still be dealing damage, and it's a gun that just doesn't relent. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned of the top 10 legendary weapons manufactured by Dahl in Borderlands 3. And don't forget, we're hitting up TDR tomorrow. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.